And hello and welcome to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and as always, thanks so much for being here. I really hope that you enjoy the show. Well, I have a wonderful, thrilling opportunity to have somebody back again who I think that you'll enjoy getting to hear from again. We're going to talk about the Saybrook Stage Company, and Terry Carigliano, the producer and founder of the theater company, is my guest, along with one of her terrific actors, Connor Reardon. And Terry and Connor, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
I'm glad to have you. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks. It's good to be here again.
I mean, it's hard to believe we were just talking. It's July.
I know.
And really, you're back, and you were just here in December.
It's amazing. It goes so fast, right? They come faster and faster. That's what I just said when I walked in, you know. So.
We'll talk about that in a second, but what I wanted to do, which we talked about when we first met each other today, is your background. Let's introduce yourselves to the viewer. Terry, why don't you go ahead? Tell us about yourself.
Sure. Well, my career, like my work career, was basically spending it in education as a teacher, professor. I'm a lawyer by trade. I gave it up years ago to raise my children and stay home. But I've been in theater and acting, you know, since I was in kindergarten. So when we moved here to Old Saybrook back in 1999, after a couple of years, we heard about the Kate and it was opening, so I got involved in some of the fundraising activities and the early, planning of the theater, and I really wanted to be a part of it. And then we found the Saybrook Stage Company in 2011. In 2011 we found it. So this is going to be our 25th show at the Kate. So we're celebrating.
Did you think, were you growing up as a performer? I mean, because you're performing in your plays, is that something that you thought that you'd be doing all of your life?
Performing?
Performing.
Probably. I mean, I've always liked to perform, and be on stage, even in law school. Like when I was in Boston, I found the Boston Bar Chorale. Who knew there was a group of singing lawyers? But there was, and so we'd sing at Faneuil Hall and other venues. when I was in law school, even. So I've always been performing, and so it's always kind of been a part of my life. And teaching. At Quinnipiac, I taught public speaking and law, but also at the high school level, I taught public speaking for many years. And I think it's a quality that, and it's something that everyone should learn how to do and get to feel comfortable with. It's a wonderful thing to know how to do.
And Connor, let's talk about you and your background. Tell us about yourself.
I don't know if I can follow singing lawyers. I feel like that's pretty great. We haven't heard you sing yet. I feel like I have to ask that for rehearsal tonight.
That was a while ago.
I think that's another show.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Right.
No, but so I think we were talking about this a little bit earlier. But my first ever role was I played Foxy Loxy. I think I must have been like 8 years old, and it was a little community theater in Connecticut, and so.
Which I'm going to tell everyone about at rehearsal tonight.
So I think from there, it must have inspired me to just keep performing. But I would say that I really got involved in theater and acting starting in middle school. I was really bad, but we did Grease. I was Teen Angel in Grease, and I don't know. I never stopped. I just continued performing. Since then, I performed all throughout high school. Throughout college, I also did a lot of performing. And now I graduated last year from Harvard, and now I'm kind of this is my first show at the Kate, which is really exciting. And I'm just very grateful. I've gone to a lot of shows at the Kate before, and so it's nice to be able to kind of, be on the stage this time and kind of bring this amazing story, amazing play to life.
Now you're mentioning Harvard, which I think my viewers will say, oh my goodness, here's this Harvard graduate. How did you juggle being an actor and performing and all of the requirements to be a Harvard student, let alone graduate?
Just don't do your homework. No, I'm kidding. Of course you do your homework. It's a lot of coffee. I would say that's very necessary.
Yeah.
No, I think it's, I think first you have to understand that the arts are just as valuable, I would say. Performing and being involved in the arts is just as valuable as any other academic, educational pursuit that you can have. And so I think it's really just For me, it was establishing what my priorities are, and so I think that my priorities absolutely was maintaining a good GPA and making sure that I was improving myself as a person, as sort of somebody, like an academic, but also making sure that I was giving myself the opportunity to involve myself in the arts and make sure that I was growing as an artist, and that I also got into writing while I was at Harvard, and so it was about kind of combining my educational academic pursuits and my creative side, and seeing how I can meld the two together and hopefully bring my unique voice and experiences to the table.
You were mentioning before when we were talking earlier about the award. Tell us about that. Jimmy Award, was that what it's called?
Yes, yeah. So my senior year of high school, I got to play Jack Kelly in Newsies, the musical, and I was so lucky to have such an amazing cast and director at the high school. And we ended up getting nominated for a few awards at the Stephen Sondheim Awards, and we went, and I was lucky enough to win Best Actor there. And so they were, the Stephen Sondheim Awards was a participating program in the Jimmy Awards, or the National High School Musical Theater Awards, which is a program that brings together Best Actor and Best Actress from a lot of different regional awards programs and across the United States, brings them to New York, where we perform on a Broadway stage. In this case, it was the Minskoff Theater, which is home to The Lion King on Broadway, and we perform in front of a lot of industry professionals. I performed in the musicals group, which was celebrating sort of so many years of Broadway musicals, and I obviously didn't win anything from the Jimmys, but it was such a great experience to kind of be a part of, and it was very humbling as well. To this day, I think that the people that I got to perform with have really inspired me and have showed me that not only do I want to be an actor and keep doing that throughout my life, but also I have a long way to go, and there's always people who I want to collaborate with, people who I want to be more like. So that was just a great experience.
And Terry, one of the reasons why we're here is to talk about your play that you're going to be performing at the Cape. Why don't you tell us about it?
So the play is called Lost Lodge, and it is about a vacation home that many different people have visited, and it's about all the stories of all these different people that have been there, whether they're friends or family or lovers, strangers, and they all, so it's a one set play, but then all of these different peoples and their stories sort of, connect. And it's in the style of A.R. Gurney of The Dining Room, A.R. Gurney, and I've always loved those little vignettes, and I think it's really kind of an interesting thing. It's a little bit challenging in that within each story, they're all only 5 to 7 minutes. Some might be a little bit longer, but my challenge was, instead of just making it a slice of something, I wanted it to be as close to a full story for each vignette as possible. You always want to learn and know more about the characters that are in there, from the people who have seen it or read it, but they're happy because there's an arc to it, and to get an arc going every 5 to 7 minutes, it was fun. It was like a little puzzle, but it was a lot of fun.
And it'll be playing at the Cape, and what are the dates?
Yes, the dates are July 18th through the 21st, and we have 2 shows on Saturday. We have one at 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. on Saturday, so we usually do that in the summertime, so there's 5 shows altogether.
Saybrook Stage Company, people are going to say, I've heard of it, I haven't heard of it, I want to hear about it. How did you decide that you were going to found a theater company? Was it hard?
Well, yes, it's always a challenge, and it still is. I mean, I think what happened is when I got involved in the Kate, I knew I wanted to keep acting too in some way, shape, or form. I had gotten into teaching, as I said, I'm 30 years in teaching, which is a little bit of a performance as well, as we all know.
Sure.
So, but I think it was a way for me to get that creative outlet of acting and share it with others, and have others on the Shoreline community, come in and be actors. And it just, I was just saying to some of the this morning, the group of people that have come together, for us over the past, 24 shows. It's just incredible. Like we have people, donating buildings so we can rehearse in, like the Ginty group. We have, Glenn Bassett, our set designer. We have Trevor Hartman, our set builder. And the hours they spend and the time they put in and the dedication is just, it's just amazing. And I'm so grateful, to all of them and to all the actors. It's a lot. It's a lot to ask of people. We have, 2 actors from New York. You're coming down from Massachusetts most nights. So there's a lot of traveling involved, and but they're passionate about it. And I'm so grateful to this group, especially because they're incredible talent, certainly, but also their willingness to have fun with this and take a chance and to change and maybe tweak the things that are working better for certain characters played by these people than necessarily on the page, if that makes sense.
And Connor, how did you find Terry and this play? Is there a location that you look at as an actor to find performances that are happening in the area?
Gosh, well, I was very lucky. My friend Kathleen Gephardt, who Terry knows, Kathleen contacted Terry and said, "Hey, there's this weird kid that I know who's an actor, and he is looking to act. And I heard that you had a play going on, and so if you want to get in touch with him." Terry got in touch with me. I think it was the next day or the afternoon that you did get in touch with me. We ended up going on Zoom, and I read for her in a couple of scenes, and she said, "Great, let's make it happen." And so here I am.
How do you find your actors?
We have, usually we go through Actors Access. Sometimes I'll go on Backstage, which people are like, "Oh, my Backstage account's still working," kind of thing. So it's a little harder on Backstage, but Actors Access, we post on, our Facebook group and a couple of the community theater boards. But Actors Access has been a big a way we can bring in actors.
Have you thought about, you perform twice a year at the Cate, is that correct? January and July.
That's right.
Have you thought about next year, 2025, or are you just totally consumed with what's happening now?
Totally consumed with what's happening now.
Are you happy with it? You wrote it, is that correct?
I did, yes. Yes, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled with it. The way it's presenting itself through these wonderful actors, and I think
Oh, stop.
and it's fun. It's interesting because there are some scenes that are more challenging because there is like 8 actors in one scene or 6 actors, and it's funny because it takes a lot to write a scene for 6 or 8 actors, and you don't really think about that until you're kind of in the throes of it. So, but it's working really well, and we're having a lot of fun with it.
What we're going to do now is we're going to take a break and play what you have created as a thank you to the Cate, which we play in every show that you come, and I love it. So let's do that.
Okay.
If we could run that now, that would be great.
People often tell us how grateful they are that the Saybrook Stage Company is part of the Shoreline artistic community, and we're so happy to be a part of the Cate and to be able to produce live theater in such a beautiful venue in the perfect New England town. But Saybrook Stage Company has given us so many things in return over the last 12 years. The friendships we've made and the professional connections and opportunities that present themselves to us just keep growing every year. We may run the Saybrook Stage Company, but the success of it is the combined efforts and passions of countless talented, energetic people. There's the actors, of course, but the people behind the scenes also put in hours of work that make it all happen. There are directors, set designers, lighting designers, set builders, stage managers, costume designers, hair and makeup designers, prop masters, and stage crew. And the local support of businesses in the area like the Ginty Group, who willingly donate rehearsal and set building space, and the Westbrook Ambulance Association. It's a labor of love for all of us. It's not always easy, but the rewards are something I never could have imagined when we produced Our Town all those years ago. We're so grateful to Brett Elliott and all the people at the Cate for their constant support of all we do. Each time we move into the Cate to build a set for a new show, there is such a warm feeling of community. If you're an artist that's lucky enough to perform at the Cate, it doesn't matter where you're from. LA, New York, Chicago, Hartford, or right here in her own backyard. While you're there, you too feel as if the theater is your home. Here's to you, Kate. I hope we make you proud.
And welcome back to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host. And again, as always, I hope you're enjoying the show. We're talking about the Saybrook Stage Company, so I really hope that you're enjoying that. And Terry, we just talked about that tribute to the Kate. Tell me why you did that. Why did you create that?
Oh, because I am just so grateful to have the opportunity to have the Saybrook Stage Company a part of the Kate. And I think it's a mutual thing now. It's just a wonderful theater, and all the people there sort of consider us part of their home, and vice versa. So it's a wonderful group.
And people will probably say, "Oh my goodness, they're doing the play, they'll be at the Kate," but people don't realize that there's a process that you go through the week before that you open the play. Tell us what happens that week.
Sure. Well, that week, basically we rent the Kate for a week, and so we move in. We'd move in on the 14th which is a Sunday, and our set is basically built off-site. It's actually built where we're rehearsing right now, because of the Ginty group and the Submergence group. But so we do that, and then we move everything in that Sunday. The set is built. And hopefully, if all goes well, we have a rehearsal that evening, and then we just have the lights and our tech Monday and Tuesday, dress rehearsal Tuesday and Wednesday, and we open on that Thursday.
Are you excited?
Yes, I'm very excited. Very excited. Yeah, there's a lot left to do, but I'm very excited.
And how are you feeling about it?
I'm feeling great. I think I need to go over my lines a couple more times. No, but I feel like with theater, it's always a sprint to the finish line. Sometimes it's definitely called Tech Week. Sometimes it's called Hell Week. Sometimes it's everybody is just kind of rushing around trying to make sure that every last minute thing is in order. But as it always is with theater, everything comes together in the end. And I'm just very grateful. This is a very Lost Lodge is a very special show. I think that. Especially as somebody who's part of this generation, very much with technology involved in all of our daily lives. This is a show that reminds us that we should really sit down and talk to somebody face to face and realize how much we mean to each other and how much we love each other and how much there is to learn from one another. And so I think it's just, I'm just very grateful that we get to bring that to the Kate, which is such an amazing theater. And so, yeah, I just feel very motivated. I feel very energized as we're coming into the final weeks of this project.
How do you feel about being able to perform at the Kate?
Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. I mean, I've been coming to the Kate for years and years and years. I lived in Chester for a long time, and so to be able to be on the other side of that and to perform in front of this community that I've grown up in is just a really great opportunity. I'm really grateful to have it.
Have you thought about your future? Is theater all that you think about and all that you want to do?
That is such a wonderful question that I've been avoiding for so long. No, I think I would say entertainment, I would say art needs to be a part of my life for as long as it goes. I think that I've been getting a lot more into film as well as theater, and so I think just honestly anybody who will hire me, anybody who will give me the opportunity to kind of express myself and make the art that I would like to make, I think that that's where I want to find myself.
Why don't you talk to the viewer for a second about being an actor? How do you go about putting yourself out there? I mean, do you have monologues? I mean, there are things that you do to get ready for an audition. What's that like? What's that process like? That is,
again, amazing interviewer, amazing questions. I think to be an actor is a struggle. It is incredibly hard, and it always will be, but it's also the most rewarding thing. At least for me, it's the most rewarding thing that I can do with my life. I think you're right. You need to have monologues, you need to have scenes, you need to be able to kind of figure out what kind of actor you want to be and what sort of way you want to present yourself to, a casting team or to an audition room. And so I think for that, honestly, for me, and it's very hard because I think that something that I struggle with a lot is, you know, like time management, and in terms of like, you know, should I be spending my time on this, like, you know, or on this? What does productivity really mean when you're an actor? Like, what does it mean to be productive? And I think that the advice that I like to give myself and that I would give all future actors is to consume as much art as possible, and that doesn't just mean, you know, watching plays or watching musicals. It also means watching movies. It means reading scripts. It means reading books. It means writing on your own. It means maybe keeping a diary. It means being in touch with yourself as well. Because I think in order to be a great actor, in order to be, you know, truthful to yourself, you have to know yourself. You have to give yourself grace, and you have to give yourself the time to get to know the world, not just the world that you live in, but also the greater world around you, whether that's the community that you live in, whether that is, you know, keeping up with world events and really, like, you know, educating yourself on everything that's going on. I think to really truly be a well-rounded actor, you have to be in the know, and you have to expose yourself to everything, and that is being productive. You know, it's never a waste of time to consume other art and to kind of even just like sit down and watch a movie a night, you know, like that is being productive, and you should be able to give yourself the opportunity to do that.
And Terry, I think it's very interesting that a mother-daughter team such as yourself and your daughter Mary will be performing in this production, but she's been performing with you before. How is it performing with your daughter?
Oh yes, it's the best thing ever. It's one of my favorite roles was Barefoot in the Park when we did that years ago, and Mary's been with us since the beginning, since we started Saybrook Stage Company. We did Our Town, and she was Emily, and so so we've been there for years. And of course now she's in New York. She's a comedy writer and sketch writer in New York, and but it's great to have her in this one for a couple of vignettes, and actually two of them are mother-daughter ones, very, very different than each other, but it's a lot of fun to be on stage again with her.
I get to act with her in the very last vignette, and she's phenomenal, and she's so funny as well. Like when you come see the show, you'll know. Like she is truly a talent.
That's good. What are your thoughts about the future of your theater company? Do you have thoughts about a 2-year plan, 3-year plan, 5-year plan? Do you plan on sticking around and keeping the theater company going?
I think, as we said before, that, well, you know, one step at a time. No, I think every show, I think we, you know, yes, I'd love to keep it going for as long as possible. But I think as a producer, certainly, and a director, especially for this one, you know, it's sort of a little capsule in time each play. So we kind of don't really look to, like, you know, 5 years ahead, but certainly I'd love to keep going as long as possible. And you know, to add on to something Connor said, I think that it's so important, if you're a creative person, to allow yourself the time to be creative. I mean, I found myself, especially even writing this, I had 3 different projects I was working on, and finally I thought, okay, you just have to pick one and do it. So, and you're always thinking, when you're doing something, I think in creative people, when you're working on a project, you think, oh, I should be doing something more meaningful, or I should be doing something, you know, oh, I should be doing this more practical, and I think, you know, for the audience out there, for anyone who's a writer or an actor, I think, you know, you have to follow your heart. You have to give yourself that time to be creative. And that's when, you know, the magic will start happening. And I think that's what helped me tremendously writing this. So I think, you know, to have the whole piece come together, it's very exciting. But I think you have to allow that time to give to creativity, or else you're never going to get to the point you want to be at.
You also have to give yourself time to fail as well.
Exactly.
Like you have to.
Exactly,
you are going to mess up, and you're going to do bad.
Right.
And I have so many different drafts that are just,
yeah.
I go back and I read them sometimes just to be like, wow, I've come a long way, and that was really, really bad. And that's part of the process.
Right. Especially, and I had the hardest vignette, I think, to write was the ending, and I kept a draft, you know, different drafts after drafts, and finally it came to me. Finally, I got it. But it took a while, and I'm thinking, oh my God, how am I going to end this? But I'm really happy with the ending as it is, and it was different than I envisioned it at first, and so I was sort of led down a different way, but I love it right now. So
how was it writing a play? Is this your first play that you've written?
It is, yes. It was great. It was very natural to me, and I think, I even said it in the program, something happened when I started writing this and writing these vignettes. These characters, wanted their own time on stage, so it was very interesting, and I think and it flowed easily to me. I like writing conversation better than long descriptions. That's kind of my style, so I think anything I would write in the future would be for screen, TV or something, or plays, because conversation seems to be the most normal thing for me to write, or the most satisfying.
We are starting to begin to run out of time. But Connor, how has it been for you to be in the play? Is the part good for you? Are you feeling comfortable in it?
The parts. I play 5 different characters.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of whom is a pizza man, and that's all I'll say on that point. It's fantastic. It's annoying that it's your first play and it's so good, I would say, to what Terry is saying, writing dialogue, writing conversations is one of the most satisfying things, and also it's one of the hardest things to do, and you do it so naturally and so well. So I think it's so much fun.
Nice, right?
No. It's there's a difference.
You two are good together.
No. There's a difference between being nice and just being truthful, I would say. So thank you for writing something that is so good. I would say that as an actor, it's really satisfying and rewarding to be able to be a part of a piece where the characters say things that I would say in my daily life, and in the same sort of cadence and the same sort of tone. And so it's nice. It's a challenge to kind of have 5 different characters and to need to make each one distinct, and also in a variety of ages as well, because they're not all the same age. They're not coming from the same sort of background, and they're not all in the same place in life. Just as I am not in the same place in my life as these characters too. So it's really satisfying.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you both so much for being here today. We have run out of time.
All right.
So all
Thanks
the
for
best
having
with the
us.
show.
Thank
I
you.
will be there with my mother, and I'm
Thank you.
excited
How
to
beautiful.
see you all. So I'll be rooting for you in the audience.
Oh, thank you
Great.
so much.
Thank you
Thanks so much for
having
coming.
us.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
wonderful.
I'm Deborah Gilbert. You have been tuned in to Arts and Entertainment. In case you need to reach me, I'm at artsandentertainment@mail.com. Well, I hope you have a super day today. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. I'll see you next time.